know what is going to happen between here and the police headquarters. For us, we are not armed, but they see this is a police vehicle, and these are policemen. Why are they following me? I think I got concerned, and I said, okay, because if in our training, if you decide somebody is following you, maybe he's not following you, maybe he's driving in your direction, okay? So what you do, you divert. So I told them, divert. They diverted, they also diverted. So she called me and said, yes, we have diverted there. I said, okay, there are many routes. Divert to another route and see whether they are following you. So she diverted to another route, and they also diverted. Now, that shows that actually they are following them. And I don't want to think what they wanted. Maybe they wanted to, because they never achieved, we never knew why they were following them. Probably somebody should follow them up and ask them, why were they following from up to police headquarters? Indeed, they came up to the gate of police headquarters. Marion Kutusa with Nandaura, with Babwetera, and another officer. They went to police headquarters and went to the first check. Interestingly, the same car came and followed them up to the check. But the check was done, and they passed. So they told the officers who were at the check, don't allow those guys to come in. So they were stopped at the check. Of the police headquarters, we have two checks. So this was the first check. And when they stopped them there, I think they delayed them there, and they were asking them, you people, what is it? What do you want? And by the way, I think, yes, we can see you are putting on like us, but we are going to arrest you. So they turned their vehicle and went back. Madam Chairperson, they called me, and I said, okay, can I talk to Babwetera? I talked to Rona Babwetera. I said, okay, Rona, I don't know where your shelter is, but now you can drive to your shelter. A little bit late now, maybe 8, 9, something like that. So they drove her to their shelter. Probably that's where, for me, I can stop. And then when Rose Nandaura, who is the acting commissioner in charge of Child and Sexual Offences Department of the CID, she can add on. But because you asked some questions about whether there is a report, she's going to come here with a report. I have a report in soft copy, it is here. A full investigation report, it is here. But I told her to print and also come with the hard copies. Probably she can give you a soft copy, or I can give you the soft copy because I have it here. The other one is if there are any complaints, any other complaints. Madam Chairperson, maybe before I finish that, what I was told is after, I think the second day on the psychosocial support program, this lady became a little bit hostile. She became a little bit hostile. And she was saying that she wants to be taken back to her mother. She doesn't want to remain in the hands of the police. She wants to be taken to her mother. I think they tried to talk to her, but they all agreed that indeed they should take her to her mother. And that's what happened. But during that period, some other girl had come up. I think she's called Vivian. I can't recall very well her other name. She came up and she was also talking about the same complaint. She also went to Kabaragara, and for her she recorded a statement to that effect. she did record a statement. And any other complaint is that I saw on, I think it was NBS TV, another girl from Germany. She was also complaining that she was sexually molested by the same Chirumira alias Bryan White. Now, the Rose Nandaura, when she reaches here, she would be able to tell you how they are going to reach the other lady who is in Germany. But the normal procedure is that CID is supposed to write to Interpol, and Interpol is supposed to use its Interpol tools, and one of the tools is I-24/7. I'm sorry, I was the director of Interpol, so I know the procedure. So Interpol is supposed to now to write direct to NCB Bryan, and then they can take statements. This is mutual legal assistance under a program called mutual legal assistance. Somebody is out of the country, you are here, but you want them to assist you in an investigation. So under that program, MLA, they are supposed to take statements and do whatever they want to do. They can even Zoom. They can do a Zoom session, and then that report will be forwarded to Uganda to look at. Number one, I get worried as somebody in charge of rights of women and children within the police. I get worried. These are young people, very, very young people. These girls were in Bryan's White, not 1 day, not 2 days, not even a month, I think years. Now, the challenge there is, how could we not have picked this? How? Because this is not one girl, these are not two girls, these are not even three. I want to think. There is somebody who acts like a pimp, I forget his name. Somebody who brings these girls to this gentleman. Sorry? He's like a broker, but I think he's a pimp that's the right English word. So I think the challenge here, not only in this investigation, but I think we must try to study, to understudy this. Is this a new wave of having girls, sexually molested under the guise of employment, giving them opportunities, and while so much harm is done to this? That is number one. Number two, how this happens, if true, because the investigators are going to come, how this can happen because I don't know what the public would think, because this man was guarded. Yeah? Yeah, so this man is guarded. So you are guarded, but there is something like that taking place inside. So I think we need to sort this out. We need to sort this out. And nobody in this country, nobody should, under the guise of being protected and whatever, use that to commit offenses, and heinous offenses, including getting people against their will. By the way, even if it was on their will, even if they were there initially, not knowing this was happening, any moment that they detected something like that was happening, then they were being held against their will. So for me, that's the second challenge. And the third challenge in this investigation was that we seem to have been investigating this on the media. I think that there was too much media investigation, and this, to me, it's likely to affect the due process. Because people dug in and people weighed in, this against that. And I think that could have played with Nandaura, Stella. Because why should she call the police? Why would she accept to be out of illegal custody? And then later on, she says, no, I don't want to make a statement. In the same media, I saw her being recorded, because now she's out of the police custody. She was on her own. And she was telling Vivian mukwano, bino ebintu bivemu kubanga twabipanga byali bipanze. It's like we sat and organized to tell a lie about Bryan White. This lady now, she's saying this, she's not in our custody, she's on her own. We don't know what could have taken place between when she said she wanted to go to her mother and the time she was making a statement. While Vivian, she was making a statement that actually was in tandem with the original statement of, yes, which was in media. So I think, Madam Chairperson, we allowed the media to carry out an investigation of such a very sensitive matter. And for me, I believe, I'm not saying media should not, but media should be led by the police, by the investigators. To me, the media should be coming to the public relations officer of the police and ask, how far, because they are right to get that information, how far have you gone with this investigation? But they were the ones now putting it everywhere. And if you tuned in old TVs, they had this. There was Spark, there was the NBS, I think I saw Terefina. Yes, I think I saw Terefina or something like that. And it was everywhere. Madam Chairperson, that to me is another problem of, another challenge that we had. So maybe I can stop there, and if there are any issues that come up, then I can respond to that. But we have not received any other complaint by the lady. We haven't received that. But you will realize when she comes, I think there is an issue that needs to be sorted out, because here it is, when she comes, I think this question should be put to her so that we can harmonize. Here it is sexual abuse and violation of rights of Stella Nandaura, but the investigation is talking about human trafficking, talking about illegal detention and trafficking of persons. So I think that needs to be sorted out. I don't know whether they cannot sustain an investigation involving sexual violation to an investigation of kidnapping somebody and keeping that person in your custody. I think that needs to be harmonized. But other than that, I don't know any other complaint.
Are the very questions that we invited the IGP, and we suppose that you're here to represent the IGP in his capacity. We are wondering, you are saying that the case that is being investigated is human trafficking and illegal detention.
Was I right to state that? Very good. So
human
right.
Trafficking. And from the witnesses, they actually said several times they tried to report their case to police, but they failed because you, the police, are friends with Bryan White, and you are so casual with him that any case they tried to report was always frustrated. And at one time, that very case, when they reported a case of sexual violence, at one point, the case turned into them being accused of, was it theft? Yes. And now I am concerned, Mr. Kasinje, that though the girls repeatedly, even from the videos, repeatedly said they would be beaten, they would be sexually abused by Bryan White, the case you have is human trafficking. Is it deliberate by the police? Do you want to tell us that when the girls came to police, they reported the case of human trafficking and they went to the media and talked about sexual violence and they have never reported the sexual violence to you? Secondly, you have told us that Bryan White is guarded. As IGP, can you tell us under which arrangement Bryan Chirumira is given this security detail? As an individual, what VIP status does he hold in this country to have that kind of security detail? And then you have your OC, CID, and the police in Kabalagala. Have you taken any disciplinary measures against the police in Kabalagala because you have expressed your displeasure at the way the matter was handled? What steps have you taken to discipline this officer?
Okay. Madam Chairperson, they tried to complain officially to the police, and the police was not giving them a hearing. Madam Chairperson and members, you can realize, first of all, I don't know that allegation. But what I know is that immediately I told you about a lawyer, Rona Babuetera, when she called me. You can judge by my speed of ensuring that the police investigates this matter. And I want to believe that what you have stated may be a question of an individual police officer who did not do her work than the police. Because when you say the police, maybe you don't include me. Because if you say the police did not give a hearing to these ladies, and yet I'm the one who ensured that these girls are picked from her house, from the house where they were. And I kept on the tabs. I put my finger on the pulse of this case until when they can be heard. Then I'm not part of the police. But if I'm part of the police, then we should pinpoint about individuals whom they could have reported to and they did not act. Let Mr. Kass report that these girls made and I didn't listen to it. I followed. These girls at one time said they would go to the town, they would go and make their hair, They were going to make transactions, financial transactions. They will go for purchases. I think they would purchase certain things in their company, Bryan Foundation, that they would go to, I think, some customers or something like that, those that were being given some assistance from Bryan Foundation. You think that they didn't know there were so many police stations if they were frustrated by they went to report and then they said you cannot report? However, what I agree and what I would say without mincing my own words is about the delay that happened at Kabaragara police station. And maybe Nandaura can talk about it. That they reported this matter, they reported there at 8. But by 11 when they called me again, that we seem to think that there is nothing going on. This even includes my officers who had come from Child and Family Protection Department. And that the OCCID was making calls, and to them, he was talking to Bryan White. If it comes to that, then I think, and I have told this committee, that we are going to have an internal discourse on the conduct of the OCCID at Kabaragara Police Station. This is what I have told this committee, and this is what is going to happen. But what I want to disassociate myself with the police is that the police are actually supporting Bryan White in this matter, or we didn't listen to the complaints of these girls. I don't think that happened.
Babwetera, your close friend, actually told us, and you have told us, that the people who guard Bryan White are dressed in police uniform. So, from outside, there is no way we can't say that the police are us as onlookers. We take it that the police are guarding Bryan White. If they are not your officers, why haven't you arrested them? And Rona actually told us that when she entered Bryan White's house, these people were standing, 6 of them. Actually, she was so courageous to get out of Bryan White's house with Stella Nandaura. Because these people were standing there and they were all armed in your police uniform.
My colleagues seem to think that they were the police presidential unit guards. Maybe they can, first of all, let's first have on.
Please let us get that information and we reinstate. Because to the contrary, what we found, like my boss has said here, these girls had been accused of stealing a laptop. But in their alibi, the statement of denial at the station, and I want to applaud my director, because it's on record that the management of police does not tolerate any kind of errant behavior. But we are in a process of learning. That's actually, we continue learning, because what we found out from the file, we found out that the girls, in their statement, they stated that, look, we never stole anything from Bryan, but we are running away from sexual harassment. Of course, we want to admit that a wise police officer ought to have now also taken up from that very last statement. You get me, Honorable Chair? But these are the things we have just learned when the director came in. This is not something we knew before. So, like the director has advised and actually committed on behalf of the IGP, we are going to clean ourselves. If the officer did that either deliberately or probably inadvertently. And Madame Rose, when we are coming almost where we have reached, she had said, can we proceed with this file based on that statement? But, Madam Chair and honorable members, we need to take cognizance that the standard of proof in criminal prosecution is proving the case beyond no doubt. Like she has ably said, during search, which we did on such certificate, Madam Honorable Chair, we applied, a search warrant. We have done everything procedurally. But it's very, very important that even in spite of the procedures we have followed, we should get the input of the victim. How was she trafficked? Because when we are talking of trafficking in persons, we are looking at basically three things: the act, means, and purpose. And like she has ably said, we looked at the offense that carries a bigger punishment. This is, human trafficking is not only a serious issue in Uganda, but it's a global. It's one of the global concerns. So that's why she ably identified the biggest offense. So, Honorable Chair, we really want to commit ourselves that we are ready to investigate this case up to its logical conclusion. But most importantly, let us get the input of these victims. It is very clear that, for example, this lady who's in Germany, it was communicated that she conceived below the age of 17 or 18. Ideally, that would be defilement. Section 129 of the Penal Code has also provision which indicates that when the defilement is done by a master, it even becomes aggravated defilement, which on prosecution successfully can carry a maximum sentence of death. So in the circumstance, we need to prove the following things. One, was there penetration against the victim? Two, was the victim below age? Three, was the victim penetrated by the mentioned perpetrator? But our hands are tied. Victim Lillian has also talked. Fortunately, she has been here. How I wish you had, either through your process, allowed the police, maybe over here, to record her statement. Actually, Honorable Chair, if she had recorded her statement consistently, probably here would be communicating the success of our case. It's very, very important that this lady record the statement. The statement of the victim is very paramount. I need to make this point categorically clear, Honorable Chair, that unlike other cases, trafficking in person has got that vulnerable person called victim, whose privacy and character is very, very, very paramount. And therefore, police is constrained, first of all, to look for them as though they are suspects. These are victims. When you look at the guidelines, which you, honorable members of parliament, helped us to pass in 2019, vis-a-vis the international IOM guidelines, these victims must be protected with all the courtesy. Therefore, if we could use your office to get these ladies, it would be very important. Now, lastly, Madam Chair, you did mention the issue of protection. Bryan White, as per the officers we met, they are from SFC. The very uniform that guards His Excellency the Vice President, and maybe for the director can further state on whether it's that force that is deployed by police.
It is called PPG, Police Presidential Guard. I was on record. I'm an Assistant Inspector General Police. I am on record. I have told you the agency that was involved. That agency has a commander, right? I'll give you an example. I give, as IGP, I'm representing IGP.
Yes.
I give a police to environment called Environmental Police Protection. it has a commander, okay? Or I give police to KCCA. Now, that police unit has a commander.
You're a police officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it has a commander. The commander has the deployments where he or she is deploying police officers. It would be unfair if you asked CID that who deployed these people. I think we bring here the commander and explain the nature of deployments that he or she makes. If that is good guidance, then we can move in that direction. Because we don't want to commit ourselves and say, these people are deployed like this. We give a unit to an agency. That agency, they have the people they protect. And some of this information is need to know basis. So I cannot now come here and say, yes, police guards Bryan White. No. We need to get the commander, and you will come here and explain what were the security iniquities that led them to that kind of deployment, which I cannot make.
What?
We don't do a holistic kind of approach in as far as investigations are concerned.
Staff, we are taking the lady Stella to the headquarters. They were not harmed and they were followed. He went ahead to advise them to take another route. Those people continued following them. If your own officers can have such kind of being too scared to the extent of reporting to you repeatedly, what do you expect of a girl who already has trauma and she's seeing the people she has run to more vulnerable than she is? What do you really expect of that person if it is not now running away or even looking for a way of committing suicide? Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, according to communication from the IGP, he did mention that when he got phone calls, he directed Stella to go to Kabalagala police station to make a statement. Huh? I got you. The lawyer. Okay. Because the argument
You will
that
clarify.
okay. I thought I got him where he said that he directed Stella to go to Kabalagala police station to record a statement. And my question was because exactly what Sylvia has just mentioned, that I heard right now the police say that there is no formal complaint or there is no complainant on this subject matter. That's why it makes it slightly difficult to proceed the case. I just wanted to relate what the IGP communicated and then what the officer also communicated. And I'm seeking clarification on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Yes, please. In your opening remarks, you say the lawyer, according to her submission to us, that you share with us the steps that have been taken by police regarding the case. And in the ingredients of this case, we find that the accused person is guarded by police. And as IGP, as you were coming, the committee has invited you. I think those would be the very, very first things to prepare for.
Okay.
Because you have secured this person like a VVIP. And then I get so surprised that these police officers trailed your commissioner, but from 13th, today is a month and several days. Nothing has been done.
Okay.
Secondly, the officers at Kavaragala, could you kindly just share with us who these officers are? The OC who was at the station, okay, and the OCCID.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, just like we normally come to Parliament, and you highlight all the issues that you are going to find out. If those issues we are saying we want to know about the nature of deployment, which unit was here, blah, 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 so many. I think the IGP would have guided me very well. Can I read his instruction to me? He said, CPC and Director CID, meet with the committee. Then he said, CPC, you played, meet with the committee, CPC, you played a role in rescuing this girl. You played a role in rescuing this girl.
And we appreciate, Mr.
Attend
Kasinje. We really applaud you for
any
that.
technical person you wish. I thought that my coming here would be able to narrate my role, the role I played in rescuing this girl. Madam Chair, I have tried to be as candid as possible, and as candid as I have always been throughout my 31 years in the police. I'm candid, I call a spade a spade. I don't sweet talk. I'm known for that, and I'm happy that I can do that. I would have chosen not to tell you that these officers trail, but that should not be again used against me, because you see, Madam Chairperson, indeed I am representing IGP here, but with a specific role. I am requesting, therefore,
yes, please,
that I go back and ask, and I find out which unit is this, what are the names of these people, why were they deployed, and that kind of thing. Then I come back here. But now to dig in and say, I must tell you, these people, how were they deployed there? Really? At this, because I'm representing IGP, I can represent IGP, but you can ask as many questions about the police. If I don't have them, please, you would excuse me.
No, Mr. Kasinje, we are not going to sacrifice you for this, but I think the IGP took the case very lightly and did not, yes, he did not dig into the details of this case before sending you, because you should have come.
That's
with
why.
Yes.
That's why I say, for example, if we come to the committee,
really,
if we come to the committee,
if
we come to the committee, let me say, on budget, or if we come to the committee on public accounts, they would say, police, you are coming, but the issues are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one is saying, let me first make this point.
There is what they call follow-up.
This committee invited IGP, and it said that the committee is concerned over the alleged sexual abuse and violation of rights of Stella Nandaura and the rights of other women by Bryan Chirumera, alias Bryan White, broadcasted on NBS television on Wednesday, 13th May. The Right Honorable Speaker directed the Committee of Human Rights of Parliament to investigate this matter and report back to the House. Now, this is what was given to us. But if you had gone ahead and said, we want to know the deployment,
some of these matters have been arising.
This information would have been here.
We sent out these letters, and some of these matters have been arising out of the witnesses that come here, out of the people who come that we talk to.
But I don't follow your investigation.
Mr. Kasinje, excuse me. To you, case, while the people who guard Bryan White, as they were trailing the victim, it doesn't occur to you that any step needs to have been taken, and when you're coming to the committee, you will have to answer this? I mean, we are not diverting you from anything, Mr. Kasinje.
Madam Chair.
And this person has been accused of sexually abusing these people, and he's guarded seriously by your own police. So don't you really?
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I very clear.
That letter has no problem.
Very, very clear, Madam Chair.
The
Madam Chair.
problem is that you didn't prepare for this.
Madam.
You didn't go into the details. Actually, the police is taking this case very lightly.
And Madam Chair, I wouldn't really buy the idea of Afande Kasinji, with all due respect, that he would have gone into all the nitty-gritties. The underlining word there is Bryan White being investigated in as far as sexual abuse, allegations of sexual abuse is concerned. Definitely, we would have expected him that yes, they're investigating Bryan White about all these allegations. Who is Bryan White? You would have come here under the directive of the IGP when you know the person we're investigating. Under what circumstances is this person being guarded altogether? So we wouldn't have expected that. We would have told you, please, want to know ABCD, because we told you we are investigating this person. As we would have said, we were investigating Afande Kasinji. Someone would really know who is Afande Kasinji before coming here.
He's guarded by police. He's what?
Told you, we are still investigating. We have not conclusively investigated the matter. It is still under investigation, and that part is going to be filled up. But so far, what we have been looking at are the offenses and what amounts to the evidence. One member here said that we dropped the case. The case of theft was dropped. The case of theft was not dropped, but because an alibi came in, so that is why these girls were given a bond on that case to investigate the alibi. It is true that if the officers were professional enough, they would have entered a new case to look into the alibi of sexual exploitation. And that was not done, and that brings in professional issues, which I think should be handled by the professional standards unit, as you have suggested. Then why did you close the case of laptops? So the case of theft of laptop was not closed, but because they made allegations, it was halted, I think, to give gap for the officers to investigate the new allegations, which was not done. Nandaula went to CMI complaining about sexual harassment. What were the measures of her going to CMI? I think the purpose of taking Nandaula to CMI was not for her to complain sexual harassment. It was for interrogation purposes, because Bryan White had alleged that they had stolen his secrets on laptops. And that was kind of confidential documents and information, according to his allegations. And so these girls had been taken to CMI for interrogation. And the officers at CMI were diligent enough. When these girls said no, for us we did not steal. And actually these girls were giving good defenses that by the time we went out, we only had money pass. And it is Bryan White who gave us a car and people to escort us. So we had nowhere to put the laptops. And so we didn't steal the laptops, but instead we are learning from his sexual harassment. So the officer said, now the case has twisted. Let's leave these girls, get the details of these girls, hand them over to Kabalagala police for them to get a bond, because we are holding them on a case which also has brought in other issues for investigations. Now, someone also talked about preventive arrest. At this moment, it is not preventive arrest. It is reactive arrest, because already there is a matter in contention. And so, as we arrest, we should also think about the implications of arrest. Are we just arresting for the purpose for the sake of arresting, or we are arresting to have someone prosecuted, protect the victim, such that it acts as a punitive measure to the rest of the world who are intending to commit the same crimes. No. So this is very specific, and already there is a matter in contention, and so it is not preventive. It is now reactive. And the evidence we have will help us to even deter others who are planning to commit the same crime. So what I'm asking the Parliament is that if these girls have opened up to you and they feel very safe with you, we can join efforts, come, interview them, because at the end of the day, you will have no case without a complainant. She's the one who has been abused. They are talking about elements of being forced to abort. We don't know the hospitals where they have been taken to abort. They have to tell us which hospitals, who are the doctors. If it was sexual abuse, was it only sexual abuse, or there were other abuses within the same nature? So it will help us to come up with elements of the offense, and still we shall be able to conclude this matter in a very remorseful way. He has talked about protection of the victim. The law is very clear. The Trafficking in Persons Act, Section 13, talks about protection of the victims. It talks about the principles of confidentiality, the principles of privacy, and the principles of neutrality, and the trauma-based trauma-based approach of handling victims. And I think, by the way, when the victims go much on the kind of public, it kind of re-traumatizes them. And we also understand the Stockholm syndrome of victims of human trafficking. They are always on and off, because they look at perpetrators as being the only people to provide a living to them. So as they talk, at the back of their mind, they are thinking of where to get a living. At the end of the day, they are going to start changing statements. And this has applied to Nandaula. One video was saying, I have been abused. Another video was saying, there are people using us. We want her to come and tell us. We want to talk to her in a friendly way, to be able to tell us if it is really people have been using them. Who are these people? But we also have at the back of our mind that this could be a kind of threat within themselves that they're fearing for themselves. And so we need to have them protected in order to have their confidence in us in handling their matter. So I think it's a matter of joining hands. Help us get the victims to give us more clarification on the areas that would really support our case in court, to testify and come up with evidence in court. So on the issue of the guards, we are investigating, we are going to investigate, but we should also have it in mind that by the moment a person is guarded, there are procedures that have been followed. Either, and these are formal procedures. He could have written and actually indicated a security threat, and then deployment took place. But that alone is not enough. We need to find out who deployed and for what purpose. But that one does not in any way conflict with our other investigations, because for us we are looking at what exactly proves human trafficking. And so those ones can come in as added information to support our case. I see phones. We have not gotten them.
Information. Since you have said you are trying to call and interface in vain, have you ever tried to interface with Bryan against those allegations?
Yes, we arrested Bryan White. We made a search in Bryan White's home, and I told you we got documents of evidential value. which I would not talk here because they compromise our investigations.
Yes.
And I've told you that on the side of the suspects, we believe we have done what is real necessary. Now we are only left with the side of our victims. And I am saying we need our victims, and we need them not only to be interviewed, but we also need them to go through psychosocial, to go through protection, victim protection, to enable us have a case up to the logical conclusion. The numbers we have said, we have called them and we have not gotten them, but we have also taken initiative. We wrote to UCC and even wrote to ANICAT. We requested them to help us reach those girls, and we are still waiting. I don't think they have refused, but I think they are preparing them. And I believe even here, the committee can really give us those girls because we need them and we are concerned about the case.
Actually, when we met with social media, but they have never met Stella Nandaula. And I would like to find out from you, where exactly did you search? Which home of Bryan White? Did you go to a home? Did you go to the offices of the foundation? Because he has where he runs his activities of the foundation, and that is the house which he uses to abuse these girls. Yes, where he allegedly abuses the girls, and then he has a home where he resides. And then when you went to this house, what setting did you find? Did you find there other people? Did you, when you interacted with Bryan White, does he know where Stella is? We expected such issues because it is alleged, actually, that Stella went back to Bryan White.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much. You know, when of what we think can prove that case. And so much as we may look for other evidences as we search, sometimes we go on target. If you have talked about abortion, I may be interested in getting receipts or medical documents relating to abortion. Okay, no, now I'm not investigating abortion, I'm investigating human trafficking. But what proves exploitation is the abortion. And for me to prove that there was abortion, I should get documents relating to abortion. And then in most cases, to have proper search, you must go with the victim. Because the victim will show you, I have been abused on that bed. You may not get forensic evidence there, but at least you have a picture of the place where the abuse has taken place. And you can be able to draw a sketch plan that can help in guiding the magistrate or the judge presiding that offense, because they are not going to the field, but they need to know exactly what happened to the ground. So we didn't go with Nandaula, as I've told you. She said she was not feeling okay to record a statement with us. And that one is okay because we know such victims are traumatized. And even then, we are not supposed to rush them to make statements. We wanted her to first heal. And so we couldn't go with her because by the time we prepared to go and search Bryan White's house in Muyenga, the victim in Buziga, the victim had now escaped from the mother.
Yes.
We didn't find her in the home. Oh. We don't know whether it was deliberate that she hid herself, but we didn't find her there. But the mother was telling us she's not with her. The interaction with the other people, of course, they were interviewed, the security officers who were found there, and other people in the home, because we wanted them to give us what they have seen and what could really help our investigations. So we interviewed them and recorded their statements.
How many people did you find in that house?
Honorable Chair, that what we really found out, can I use the other? is of evidential value. And it was recorded with our SOCO, Scene of Crimes Officer. It's true, Honorable Chair, that we proceeded there with some also kind of information that that girl had escaped and gone back to Bryan's residence. I can confirm to you, Honorable Chair, that our team did a comprehensive search in all the rooms, in all corners, with the view, one, of identifying whether Stella is there. Two, with the view of establishing any material that may be of evidential value in respect to the case under inquiry, which is trafficking in persons. Madam Chair, the trafficking in person we are talking about, if successfully prosecuted, it carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Now, like the director was saying, even the issues of guards being there, Honorable Latif talked about the trailing and intimidation. It is part of what we are investigating. Because if you intimidate, if you unlawful confine, it also justifies that you are actually part of this scheme of trafficking in persons. So as the IGP is going to clarify on how they were deployed, but I would beg Chairperson that the focus should be what were the activities done using these guards, so that it can probably justify the allegation of trafficking in persons. And we are not going to try on that. We are really trying to see their relevance. Was this intimidation deliberate for purposes of fulfilling the vice which the principal was committing? So the issue of guards, we are not leaving it at all. And I can tell you, if it was caught, for instance, we would every share with you the amount of evidence we've got. And it's on record. We used our SOCO. All these things reported here and there, it can be also constitute intimidation. And it's part of the evidence in respect to trafficking in persons. Honorable members, we are not leaving this case really, we are not holding it qualified. It's one case we have prioritized because, like we have indicated, we are at the forefront and we want to be on record that Uganda Police is counted as one of the institutions that have fought trafficking in persons. We do appreciate the legislation you give us because it's spot on. We are following this guideline. The commissioner here ably said, Honorable, it's not that we don't want you people to share this with the public. No, it's the law. These girls have a future. When you look at these girls, these are young girls of 23, 24, 25 years. Tomorrow she will be here, she will study, she will become a member of parliament, she will become the chairperson of the committee. But how will the world see her that this is a girl who aborted 3 times? So the framers of that law were very, very sensitive, protecting these guys because they have a future. And it is by the law, by the law. So I want to categorically state that CID headquarters, under the guidance of the director and the IGP, we are really spot on, and this is one of the cases we have prioritized. So these other nitty-gritties of the guards, maybe escorting, abating, all those are yes, all those are evidence to justify the allegation. And we can tell you this is a matter which we shall produce in public through the mechanism. Through the mechanism. The DPP will, by the way, on what is also on record, this investigation is prosecution-led. For purposes of technical and legal guidance, we were advised to co-opt an attorney, probably who will prosecute, to guide us.
Two attorneys.
You see?
The one we have the one in charge of sexual and gender-based violence.
But from the other witness, Vivian, she told her, maybe we could ask her to share with us that communication with Stella, that Stella shared with her and told her, Vivian, I had to go back. I am going back because Bryan is threatening to frame me of crimes of terrorism and having been here as an intelligence person for Rwanda. So I am going back. I have nothing to do. And Vivian was appealing her not to go back. But she told her she's going back. So later we see those videos. And actually Vivian said that much as Stella is sharing those videos, she's actually in danger and she needs help. And the mother said, if possible, would help her for now separate her daughter from Bryan White and make sure that they don't ever come together. So to us, we thought that since you people investigate, you can even track somebody's phone and know where they are. We are also craving to really see Stella because we have not interacted with her. We thought that you would help us establish where Stella is and produce her, whether she's dead or alive, and we see her. Because now we are all in suspense. We don't know where Stella is. We don't know whether she's safe or she's not. And then the issue of trailing, IGP. The issue of trailing is, yesterday when we were interviewing here the people, the UNCAT and the NBS production team, they actually told us that on Friday they were also trailed by a vehicle until they went to police in Kampala, I think, yes. Then they were escorted back. So you also need to dig deeper into this issue of trailing. Yeah.
But I remember I was requesting that, okay, we are going